Welcome into the Fosscast. We are talking about the baseball season this year, and the main story in baseball this year is not necessarily what's going on the field, unfortunately, but more what's going on in the surgeon's room. More specifically, the high number of Tommy John surgeries that have happened so far this year. You've seen since the beginning of the year about 20 starting pitchers or pitchers in general go out with Tommy John. Guys such as Jose Fernandez for the Marlins, Jared Parker for the A's, Chris Medlin for the Braves, as well as Brandon Beachy for the Braves. Those are just a couple names that have gone out for the season with Tommy John. And you wonder what is causing this. Why is all of a sudden the amount of elbow injuries spiking? And you see so many guys having to undergo this surgery and hopefully make it back. MLB doesn't know the answer to that question yet. They've just started looking into it. They're doing some research now to see what the cause is, but it's fun to speculate, so let's go ahead and do that. You wonder, is it because of too much pitching going on at a young age? You look at baseball players growing up, they play baseball literally year-round. There's spring ball, there's fall ball, there's winter ball, there's summer ball with select teams and whatnot, and so maybe that's part of it. Number two, pitching just in general is not a normal motion for a human being to make with the arm, because you're leading with the elbow and you're torquing the elbow so much to try to get as much velocity as possible on the ball. So that might be a small cause of it too. Also, there's such a love affair with the radar gun. If you see a guy that lights up a radar gun, then you're going to want to check him out. Maybe you think he's a higher prospect because he throws harder. And maybe to throw harder, these guys have to put more stress on their arm in order to bring the velocity up. All of these factors go into what is causing all these elbow injuries. I think the biggest thing is youth pitching. It starts at a young age. These kids that are still developing their arms are just thrown out there day after day after day, and they don't really stop. They continue to play baseball year-round, and yes, that's great, but especially as a pitcher, you have to take breaks. You can't just continue to pitch. Nolan Ryan came in and completely changed the way that people see pitchers, but he is being seen more as the exception to the rule, with as many innings as he threw, as many strikeouts as he had, and as great as he was for as long as he was. But he is the exception. You don't see guys like that very often. Now you have to understand that you have to give starting pitchers a break. You can't just run them out there every day, especially as their bodies are developing, as they're growing up, as they're playing Little League, as they're playing pony baseball, high school baseball. There was a story the other day about a pitcher who threw about 194 pitches in one game, and his manager said, "Oh, well, I continued to talk to the guy, and he said he felt fine." Well, of course he's going to feel fine. He's not going to want to come out. But that right there is an example of why guys get hurt so often. You look at guys like Kerry Wood, Mark Pryor, came up and just had arm injuries because they were used too much at a young age. That's why you see guys like Steven Strasburg under a innings cap, and a lot of young guys that come to the majors under an innings cap, because they don't want to put too much work on that arm, because too much of an escalation of innings or pitches can lead to injury. That was more of a factor at the major league level, but now people are wondering if that needs to be a factor at the high school and college level. So you could see pitch counts, innings limits, things like that go into account at the high school and college level pretty soon, as Major League Baseball starts to wonder if that's a part of why there's so many injuries to the elbow. But it's a problem that Major League Baseball needs to get fixed, because having these big-name pitchers, especially Jose Fernandez, out with the injury for the whole entire year is bad for baseball. You can't have all of these guys gone, because it's not good for the game. People want to see these guys on the mound doing their thing, and they can't. They can't do their job. So baseball needs to find an answer to this question, and until they do, it's going to be a huge, not a black eye, but something that just needs to be addressed and really just needs to be fixed.